Welcome to the Written Sins Network's cooking show where we grill the creators.
How you doing? I'm Jeff Kaufman from Big City Comic Studios. You can get us probably easier on our Facebook at facebook.com/BigCityComics. And favorite comic book growing up. There was a Marvel 2-in-1 annual where they all fought Adam Warlock, and where Adam Warlock fought Thanos and he died on the moon. And I must have read that book like a zillion times. Every hero on the planet was duking it out with one villain. And I think that was really the first time where one villain was given more credit than not just one, but teams and teams of heroes, which I thought was pretty cool, because that was really the first great villain that I ever knew.
The first question for you today is, what is the thing you are most proud of creating today?
I'm proud of a lot of books I've been able to work with, but the most important book I ever did was Angel Falling, because it dealt with autism. The main character was autistic, but he had physical photo memory. And that was so important because my bag of douche. Yeah, that makes the cut. Because nobody had really dealt with autism in a positive way in a book before. The issue was always the same to me, that I don't want them to pity people like my son. I just want them to know he's there. And being able to write a book where that actually worked was fantastic.
The second question is, what other indie project would you love to cross over with?
I'd like to cross over with Spawn. I think the character has never really been hashed out in a way that it should have been. You're talking about a lot of pain and a lot of anguish, and the idea that he avoided hell, but at what cost? And maybe there was a benefit that he has a chance to redeem himself, but at the same time, you know, the horror of having to live with a failed life, you know, would be fun to be able to deal with.
Why did you create Big City Comic Studios and not just go to another publisher?
I've been able to be on both sides of this. I was a publisher. I did books for other companies. Eventually, I wanted to take full responsibility for all my actions and all my creations, where if somebody made a decision about me, it was going to be based solely on myself and what I created.
Do you feel that women are treated fairly in comic books in this day and age?
Tough call. I think men and women are overly sexualized, but that's what, you know, the average person wants to see. That's what draws them into the book. Now, if that's all you're about, then you have a problem. You want to do a sexy cover? Fine. But if the women in your book I have a 10-year-old daughter, and while some of the women in my books can sometimes be a little rough, I know they stand up for themselves. And I don't think they'll be role models to her, but I don't think they'll offend her either. So that works for me.
What is something from the real world that you incorporate into your villains that makes you personally angry that you want to show in your comic books?
I think there are some First Amendment issues where if you have a female hero and a villain hits her, you're like, well, it's okay to batter a woman. I think a woman hero is equal to a male hero. So the idea of acting any differently, or when somebody asks me if I have somebody gay in my book, and they ask me why I did it, and I said, well, it exists in my world, so why wouldn't it exist in my books? And I'm always offended when somebody tries to ask you if you have an agenda. Yeah, some people do have agendas. I personally don't.
All right. Our next question is, would you sell all of your current creations for a big paycheck?
I'm sorry.
Oh. Can I do my impersonation of that? Oh, sorry. That reminds me of Frankie Goes to Hollywood, you know, on the runway, on the catwalk. Okay, sorry. I'm old. I'm sorry about that. Would I sell my company? If my family didn't have food, I would. If I could feed my family, then no. Over 10 years I've had to make...
Ladies and gentlemen, Exhibition Hall is now closed. Please exit Exhibition Hall immediately. Folks who are in line for Norman Reedus, Sean Astin, you guys are good. Star Sign will remain open for 1 hour, but Exhibition Hall is now closed.
If it's a food food issue, I don't have an option. My personal belief, and I know one thing, when I'm not writing, I become worse and I don't feel right. And I sometimes take that out on other people. Writing is kind of like alcoholism to me. Except if I do kick it, I'm a much worse person for it.
And the final question, what superhero irritates you so much you wish they were dead, dead, dead?
Mary Jane Watson from Spider-Man. I think that character is thrown out there to keep him from moving forward. Spider-Man is at his best when he's dating. We like to have him go out on dates. We like to have him screw up. We like to see him mortal. And when Spider-Man has no personal life, the character doesn't exist without Peter Parker. And Peter Parker doesn't exist when she's really in his life. So I miss the Peter Parker, I can't pay my rent, I'm having a problem with my girlfriend, things like that. I think Mary Jane Watson, throwing her in as the supermodel that he can't be married to and things will never work out, makes him feel a little Bruce Wayne-y.
Well, we thank you for your time and your energy. We'd just like you to spend 1 minute and tell us what's coming up from Big City Comics this fall.
Well, since we became our own publisher again, in October, we have Scary Fails, Tesla and Hyde Scary Fails. Basically, it's the Pulp Fiction version of Once Upon a Time. I'm a big fan of Supernatural, so the idea of having two hunters go after, these scary fails works for me. And choosing the most direct opposite people in the world of Nikola Tesla and Edward Hyde just worked for me. And I love Vegas, so it's really nice to tell that story. Also, we have Gabriel Tempest coming out, Broken Souls, basically about a criminal prosecutor who gets bit and has to take 2 lives a month, would rather be dead. The month after that, Killing Mars is a sequel to our children's book, Terminal Alice and Horror, which was a lot of fun and people have been asking for, and that will become its own monthly series. So we're having fun over here at Big City.
Thank you very much for your time. Written Sins is now a bigger fan of you.
Hey, anytime.